Hello and welcome back. My name is Elena. That is Elena. Uh, that is specifically for a historical gamer who mispronounces my name pretty much all the time. Because he wanted me to, if I did record this, wanted me to link it. So, this first video, I'm thinking I'm just going to run through the battle groups a bit and show off kind of my design philosophy for how I built them. I do have one deck for each at least. I tend to prefer Axis, hence why I have two Axis decks for each type, I should say. Um, for the most part, I designed, the basic 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, so forth decks, and I went with a bit of a different design philosophy for the 10 versus 10 maps. So, for example, for this one, I tend to prefer a bit of more extra air power, fighter ability to shoot down enemy planes. I find AA doesn't really do that much. It's from what I've noticed, it seems to build up the kind of stress for them and then force them to retreat. Now, usually, at least how I play and tend to see, they're behind the lines, and most things you're bombing are at the front because you want to kill the infantry, you want to kill the tanks, anti-tank guns, things like that. Um, Anti-tank guns are not usually at the very front, but close enough. So I find the anti-aircraft guns don't really stop them, but in combination with aircraft, with fighters, these can rack up the stress, and the fighters can then come in for the kill. That I find is very useful. So, I'm going to run through the 10 versus 10 decks because that's what I'm actually intending on playing, and so I kind of show them off a little bit and go from there. So, as for this, again, I tend to start when I'm building a deck going for air. I wanted to have, somewhat decent bombers. Let's go in here. Again, good fighters. Kind of not sold on that because I don't tend to lose fighters, but it's always good to have 6. You pretty much never run out. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Last game I played with this deck, I deployed 5 of them, and I was basically countered by about 5 to 10, German fighters. So I had kind of a bit of big dog fight, and it was actually a lot of fun. I didn't win, but it was still kind of fun. Again, I prefer quantity over quality, because I could go with these ones, which have better experience, better accuracy, but I mean, you're just dropping bombs. Not really that big a deal. And the more planes, kind of the better. And yeah, I mean, this one says anti-tank, or not, sorry, this one just says medium rockets, which 3 accuracy, looks like 8 rockets, 18 high explosive, where this one is 30 high explosive, same amount, but I don't know. It's still a toss-up between these. Like, this is B-phase, so it's a little bit faster that way. So yeah, it's kind of a toss-up, and that's really what this whole deck creation thing is, do you want to have something a little bit worse early on, but that you can put it to use right away, or, something that's a little bit better, So, alright, as for recon, I love having recon. It is very, very, very important, hence having 11 different recon companies at the very start. These guys, I believe I picked them entirely for this vehicle here, because I like having a bit of armor. Essentially machine guns, they prove to be very, very useful, especially the German side, which is, to be fair, why I love the German Panzer Division specifically. These guys have rifles, bolt action rifles, giving them a bit better range than the other guys. To be fair, I don't want recon to be shooting, but if they need to shoot, they have it. Again, this thing has machine gun, that's why I kind of picked that. This, on the other hand, a bit more expensive, but I wanted the Humbers because that armor and the basic anti-tank, light anti-tank rifle, or cannon I should say, that's on the top of it, is very, very good at taking out things like this, which have 2 armor, 2 armor. Same on the German side, they have 2 armor. So decent rate of fire, decent cannon, you know, especially for like a little cheap vehicle. And this guy, again, picked also for the armor piercing abilities. So I really do prefer to have good ways of taking out armored vehicles and going from there. Infantry. I find you can never have enough infantry, and so pretty much these 4 slots are all A for that reason. So the one thing that I do not like about the Scottish infantries, most of their most of their infantry do not have machine guns. Bedford trucks, they don't stick around, have nothing to give me. So these guys are just cheap. They have machine gun for a decent range, rifles again for a little bit closer, and then if it comes close up, the 9mm stun gun. That was it. And Vickers, I mean, heavy machine gun. Can never go wrong with heavy machine guns. A bit of command also gives me the command carrier. This thing, again, useless. No machine gun. Bren, you know, kind of have a little bit. They're basically longer range infantry, so I kind of wanted to give them a try, see if they could be useful. I usually use rifles overall just because, I mean, there's 10 guys, and yeah, I don't know, kind of a toss up there. I did get a little bit better experience guys in Phase B, and another set of rifles who also come with a tank. It is a very crappy tank with, you know, just a machine gun on top, but it is still a tank. These guys also do have Piats, bazookas, so that just gives me a bit of anti-tank ability that way, and 12 rifles. That's really that. Tanks. Infantry group does not have much for tanks, so kind of a quick explanation there. Phase A tank. It's really all I can say. Gives nice AP value for what it is. Armor value. Essentially, it is something to sit there and chew up the carriers. That's really its entire purpose. Phase B, I went mostly for armor. That's why I like the command churchill, also command vehicle. Not much selection really for this. I went for the extra unit rather than going for the slightly more accurate gun. Was it slightly more accurate? Oh, no. I went for the extra AP rounds. Because in this one it has 64 rounds, or 84. This one only has 44, and also 40 HE, but to be fair, it's machine gun. If infantry gets that close, machine gun it. It's fine. Support, I didn't really have much slot-wise. I went for the Bedfords, just for supply vehicles. Anti-tank, I favor heavily for long-range guns, because a tank sitting, you know, 500 meters away can be shot by this, where Piat only has 200 range. So, kind of the preference here. Again, I want relatively decent. The only thing I got for it is I'd rather have 2 guns than 1. Even that experience is nice. Still rather have 2 guns, just in case one gets blown up. It's really easy to blow up a gun. Then I went for the Phase 2 17 pounders. Again, more guns. And Phase 3 Wolverines for the extra, Wolverine and better experience with 2 guns. Anti-air, not really much to say. Went with this guy because, I mean, comparing the 2, or 3 I should say here, yeah, this thing has good HE damage, but think I went because of this for mobility, more than anything. I mean, this does have a bit better range, but really, really low accuracy. So I think that was my thinking on that one. And then for phase B, kind of split between the rest of them. And I don't really like the Crusader ones. I don't know, just don't really like the guns on them. Artillery. Wanted something for phase A, so that's the reason I took that. Heavy guns for long range fire for basically supporting pretty much everything. That's literally the entire thing. The priests have better damage and a bit better area effect, same range. That's pretty much it. Didn't feel a need for these guys, even though they do have 1600 range, pretty decent. Oh, priests also have 60 rounds, which is really nice. Artillery is one of the few things I tend to run out of ammo in, because they also tend to live. And this guy does have 80 rounds, which is pretty good that way. This close range support for infantry. And that really just quick run through there. But yeah, mostly infantry, hold down positions, anti-tank guns in the rear to take down vehicles, and tanks for pretty much the same reason. It's very much the sort of British design philosophy, which, I mean, to be fair, we are using the units that were built and vehicles that were built for it, but support the infantry. That is entirely what that's for. This infantry group here, it is the only one that has 7 air slots. So as you can see, I took much effect of that. This guy, anti-tank rockets. I find these are actually very useful at taking out light vehicles. Sometimes you can take down a tank, sometimes, but mostly light vehicles, pretty decent at that. Very, very good at taking out anti-tank guns or other stationary non-armored, non-hard targets like that. This guy, much better at taking out vehicles. Big gun. That's that 75mm, pretty much an actual tank gun cannon on a plane, and it's got good armor piercing. That's pretty much what it does. So yeah, that's its entire job. It's just that. I find most people tend not to have anything fighter related in phase A, so pretty much I own the skies up until phase B. Hence, phase B for the 2 fighters. Literally don't have a choice. There is no phase B fighters, so I took these 2. Give me 4 good fighters. They are pretty decent fighters. Took bombers, giving me 4 500 kilogram bombs, infantry, other light targets like that. Again, 2 more of these guys because who doesn't like big guns? And again, very good light vehicle killer. Light vehicles tend to be a problem. Also, very, very heavy tanks tend to be a problem. Especially for this, don't have good tanks. And don't have that good of anti-tank guns usually in the area that I need them. And then 2 500-pound bombs. Good for light vehicles, good for everything below that. So that's pretty much the design philosophy of this. Now, the reason I do prefer this deck over pretty much everything else is when a 10 vs 10 map, you can literally affect every theater or every section of the battlefield with aircraft. So if I'm doing really well, then I can look around and be like, hey, this is doing poorly over here, send in a bomber. Send in a couple bombers, take some pressure off. So that's kind of that philosophy. Again, we'll start at recon next. All phase A's. Again, I like phase A. With recon, I like having the vehicle disappear because when I have a recon, I don't want them to be spotted. The vehicle's gonna pretty much do that. So that's kind of why I like it. I chose these guys because of that Panzerschreck. Nice, 250 range. anti-tank ability. It's not something you have a lot, and so if a light vehicle or a tank appears with the infantry, they can shoot it. Um, then these guys just as basic scouts, and these guys, again, basic scouts, kind of crappy, but they do have machine gun. So, gives me kind of a little bit of light ability. And then these guys for later, I think I like these guys because they have a nice larger group and do have a bit of anti-tank ability just with the grenade, but it's kind of a bigger group, so I wasn't entirely sold on this, but I figured throwing it in just see what would happen. Again, heavy infantry focus. I mean, it is infantry group, but that's still my philosophy through all the battles. Uh, these guys are kind of crap. Disheartened, they take a lot more suppression damage than regular troops, but they cost 10. There's 8 of them, they cost 10. Command group, I find throwing a couple of these guys and then one of these guys to back it up, giving them a bit more experience, makes them a bit tougher, harder to kill. These guys also do have rifles, which, you know, add decent accuracy, so really cheap, just a throwaway unit I can throw in the front, be like, hey, I need something there, or I need somebody to go scout for me, and that's kind of what happens. Machine gun, self-explanatory, machine guns are really good against infantry. These guys, backbone, they have anti-tank weapon, giving them, again, Panzerschreck, short range, good solid infantry. That's why there's 2 groups. That's entirely it. Another command group, Grenadiers, you know, decent infantry, have the MG34. The only problem is none of the vehicles have guns. Grenadiers, it's kind of the same. They have MG34s, same thing. Apparently they only have one of them. They also have Panzerschrecks. So that's kind of their whole deal. I kind of took these guys as well because they have 6 rather than 4, so get a little bit more bang. And tank-wise, pretty much tanks suck. Got nothing good. So grab these 2 for early phase A. A little bit of anti-tank. Kind of went for this guy because 4 of them. 4 anti-tank, 5 armor. And grab this guy because 5 anti-tank, 4 armor. That's not really much else to say about it. They really suck. But they are armor and they are tanks. Stug. I have not found the Stug to be super useful yet for me. I've got one in phase B just so I can have a bigger, heavier tank. And then took the 3rd Stug because that does give me 3 of them rather than just 1. I mean, yes, I could go for something more experienced, but I have 4 tank slots and I really want to have a few more. So that's kind of the differences. Could go for my command vehicle. Again, same thing. I just kind of want more tanks. And these guys, I want something a bit heavier armored, hence the 10 rather than 6. 8 is not bad, but it's still not great. This thing is not really that big of a tank killer. It is a leader, so that is an advantage there, but again, I want something heavier. Support. I pretty much did not have much in the way of ability, or like room, I should say, after filling out the air, rest of this. Support's kind of the last one that I go for. I do always throw in munitions because I always need it. I kind of had a choice here between A or C. This has a lot more munitions, but I find any munitions by the end of A or potentially in starting of B, and obviously C phase is not going to help me. So I kind of went with A for that reason. I did want essentially flamethrowers. I want to try them out. I haven't entirely found it to be super useful, but I can see in some situations where it may have been nice to have them. These guys, Basically, they're really short barrel, big guns. The reason I didn't take them or put too much stock in them is yes, they are high explosive, so yes, they can kill infantry. I have other things to do that with, like this guy, machine gun, just machine gun some tanks, some stuff down. Same with these, same with the air. So kind of decided to put more points into anti-tank, which I have no tanks that are really useful, so kind of replace them. Panzerschreck, always take them because having the infantry to shoot a tank is really nice. No other real choice. I want 3 guns. Again, biggest problem usually early game is, you know, um, light vehicles. So they don't have much armor, so the 5 really crappy value doesn't matter that much. When I have something heavier, I can just take it down with these. So that's kind of why I did not go with the Pack 40. Yes, it's a much better gun, but I didn't really need that power. Phase B, I do need a bit more power. I would still rather have a bit better gun, but 3 to 1, you know, it's a big toss-up that way. Also grabbed the Martyr just because a little bit of armor and a bit better value for that, and a little bit better accuracy. So again, kind of toss-ups, a lot more expensive though. And the Pack 40, 3 of them, I figure pretty good value, and I do want that nice 15 anti-tank value. Anti-air, only went with 3, kind of went with these guys. Mostly again, good range of 120 millimeters, or sorry, 120 meters. Not much else really compares that way. Yeah, so I just grabbed 1 phase A, 1 phase B. This also does have good range, but poor accuracy. So kind of went with better accuracy. Might want to try these guys, because again, good range. If they do hit, they have a nice high HE value. And C's, I did grab one of these. 1200 range, HE value, good accuracy. This was a big toss-up. I love Flak 88s. They are really good. Again, decent range. Nice AP value. Very solid anti-tank guns. But again, only 1. That's kind of what it boiled down to. Artillery, again, support artillery for early game. Only a 900 range, help defend towns or positions of stronghold that I hold up with infantry. Good, solid range, 3 guns. These also do have a bit of anti-tank value, but it's not its purpose. It's 240 range, good support for everything. These guys, 260 range. A little bit less HE value, or sorry, a little bit less rounds, better HE value, and better area of effect. Rate of fire is the same. Solid guns. It's pretty much its entire purpose. Early phase B, 2 of them, 3 for phase C. Could have gone for big, heavier, close range. Could have gone for. I don't really like the off map that much, because I mean you only get 3 of them. This I can shoot whenever I want, however much I want. So, and this vehicle's useless. So kind of the thing. Also did not take early phase A because 3 to 1. Same with phase C. Don't really want the closer range. I want the larger 260 rather than 160. And yeah, pretty much that's what it boils down to. Also, railway artillery is pretty cool. Again, 3 uses. So that's kind of his deck here. And the last one is Panzers. So I filled up the aircraft because aircraft first. With the 10, I want to have as much as I can. It's only 3. So I went with phase B. Again, 2 aircraft to 1. So I did have a little bit of choice there, but I'd rather have 2 to 1 any day. Because if you're facing a fighter, you have 2 planes, it will almost always kill it. No matter pretty much what the experience is. Again, rockets, good for light vehicles. I don't really have anything else. And I went with this plane because, yes, it does have a single 500-pound bomb. This is 2. I'd rather have this plane for sooner. It is a little bit slower, so that is a knock for the GU 88 because it's a bit faster. But aside from that, you know, FW. Also, I should say, I went for the heavier bomb because I want to hurt stuff a bit heavy. You know. So there's that. Which is actually kind of funny that this only has a high explosive value of 3, considering that is 5. Thinking there might be something wrong with that. So, and this plane is faster, so there is toss-ups. There's also something to be said for all the planes being same speed, because when I send them in, they don't outpace each other, and that kind of stuff. Jumping back to Recon, which is arguably the most important part of your deck. I probably have more Recon than I really needed to in this deck. One thing I must specify is these. These vehicles stay. They all have guns and armor and are just really, really, really useful. Basically, these 2 purposes give me these vehicles more so than the Recon. This is if I want something quick, light, just do it from there. This one, that right there, the armor piercing value is this entire purpose. I did not care about these guys, I want this. Sure, I do want Recon because, you know, Recon's cool. I want this. Same thing with this. And this vehicle, again, same thing. Going for that armor piercing cannon, it is capable of taking out light vehicles. Like this guy, only 2 frontal armor, that's it. Infantry, weighted heavily towards having armored transports. Pretty much that's it. These guys go for anti-tank weapons, heat rounds. Sure, they're only 150 meters, but they have it. These guys got flamethrowers. That's their purpose. Again, brings in the armored vehicle, command troops. That's really all there is to say about that. I did not really go for the Pioneers because Grenadiers give me everything that I want. Longer range anti-infantry fire, close range, preferably longer range anti-tank ability. Sure, these guys have a frag grenade, so good for assaulting buildings. Flamethrowers, also good. Machine guns, because machine guns. Tanks. Now, this is an armored deck, but I have 4 armor slots left. So I did think about maybe balancing the Recon out a little bit so that I can have an extra tank. But yeah, overall, early tanks suck. I did think about this guy because, just useful. Yes, it's command vehicle, bad armor piercing. I have other stuff that can do it. There's only 1. Not worth the slot. This, 5 tanks. Decent armor piercing. Again, 2 tanks, 5 tanks, 4 tanks. All good armor. Panthers, again, good armor. And really good guns. That's the Panthers' entire purpose. And yes, I could have gone for something a little more experienced, but I want the numbers. Support. These guys. Arm-piercing rounds. And armored. That's their purpose. Munitions. Phase B, where I find I need them. And flamethrowers. So, again, don't need Pioneers, I have flamethrowers. Anti-tank. Only have 3 slots, which is unfortunate. Took the Pack 38s, give me 10 AP early game, 2 of them. Um, actually, I did apparently go for the better experience with this one. I mean, it is 2, so there's that. Again, infantry gives me vehicle. This also has a 37mm gun, which gives me also armor piercing. I have not found it to be entirely useful, but it's still armor piercing. And again, pack 40, good armor value, or damage value, and that's it. Good guns. Anti-air, Whirlwinds, went for the flak. It's pretty much basic going for range and accuracy. And this is mobility. That's pretty much this entire thing too. Artillery, Phase A. This is the only option. Went for it just for support and for smoke. This, I've never really tried it, and so I kind of wanted to. And, I mean, who doesn't like rockets? These two are the workhorses, 240 range, decent guns, and how about backing them up with 280 range, being, I think, the longest range artillery gun. And, yeah, that's, again, range, good firepower, and this thing actually has a machine gun if somebody actually gets up close, which you never want. That's basically its purpose. Long range artillery. And that really covers it there. So those are the 3 primary 10 vs 10 decks that I'm planning on using. I will modify, change a little bit as I get more experience. I have only played a few games, like 2 10 vs 10 games. And yeah, so that's pretty much the end of it. And so I will end it here, and when I bring you back, be new video, and I will be doing the 10 vs 10 game. So thank you for watching, and fly safe.